It's so funny. People are going to think you're my shill, and I'll tell you why. You performed for me this morning a sanity check to make sure that I am somewhat sane.
Yeah.
So, and I'll tell you why. For the past 3 months, I'm almost ready to publish it in another week or so. I have been working on a report, on what I call a field report. I'll tell you a little bit about it. I'll make sure I get you the information.
Yeah.
What I've done in this field report is I've taken the Gallup State of the Workforce 2025, Development Dimensions International Leadership Forecast 2025, and 17 of my previous podcast guests' episodes and combined them into a document where all the data streams converge.
I love it.
The name of the report is this, because I wanted to create a field book because of using the podcast. It's called Throttle Up from the Field, Volume 1, The Canaries in the Coal Mine. What Gen Z is exposing about the workforce crisis. And that's the key. Just like you said, when you talked about Gen Z, they want to
Yeah.
know why.
Yeah.
But they are really the canaries in the coal mine. They won't put up what we put up with. They won't, just like you said, you get a job, you toe the line, you put in your time, and 20 years from now, you may have enough agency to do things the way you want to do it. They're not putting up with that. But here's the key. They're the canaries in the coal mine. They're showing us what's wrong with the workplace that has existed for over 50 years.
Yes.
So that's the crux of the report. I think I've done a pretty decent job on it, and hopefully we'll publish it in the next week or so. And I will tell you, what you've just said is absolutely a laydown on top of one another of exactly what the report reveals.
I love
It's
that.
it's it's just, and people, it doesn't matter if you're a boomer like me or a millennial, a Gen Zer, we're all looking for the same ability, the same sense of meaning and purpose from the work that matters to us. And we all want to be involved in that. We just kept our mouths shut. We soldiered on. And just, okay, I got a job. Oh, I got a job. I'm paying bills. I have a nice car. Those kinds of things were the considerations, as you well know.
Yeah.
So it's very, very interesting. Make sure I get you a copy of the report.
That'd be awesome. Thank you.
Anyway, okay. So let me ask you this question as we try to move on a little bit here. And that is, you mentioned that for 2026, your personal focus is remembering that busy doesn't equal success and not everything is an emergency.
Yeah.
That's advice you're giving yourself and not just clients.
100%.
What's the leadership discipline required to actually live that way, especially when market conditions or competition create real urgency?
I think there's two things. I think that there's boundaries, and I think it's a mindset issue. If you have a scarcity mindset, then there's not enough clients for everyone. You have to go out and you have to gather. And I think it really kind of goes back to how we were raised. Like, you go out, you push. It doesn't matter if you're working, 8 days a week, 60 hours a day. Like, the expectation was unrealistic. And having a mindset that is what's meant to be mine will be mine. And there's enough for everybody. There's a 6, 8, 10 billion. I don't even know how many people are on the earth anymore. But I can't service all of them, nor do I want to. So let me focus. Let me put some boundaries around. Who do I genuinely want to work with? And what does that need to look like? How can I stay in my area of brilliance for the longest period of time? Because I know that's going to give them the best results. And when you have that mindset shift, then it becomes a little bit easier. Okay, what boundaries do I need to put into play? And I really did learn this from a lot of my younger employees. When they clocked out at 5 o'clock, they clocked out at 5 o'clock, right? Now, there were times, obviously, if I had to ask them to push or ask them to make exceptions to their work schedule, they were all in, but it was because they knew that it was a rare exception. I genuinely needed them, and I would be right there with them. But I learned that work-life balance used to be a joke. I don't want it to be a joke. I want to enjoy time with my family, with my friends, learning more, doing what lights me up and what fills my cup. So having those boundaries is what allows me to do it. And the more you ease into that, now it's non-negotiable. I don't do things on the weekends. And here's why. Because I'm a better version of myself on Monday morning. And I fail all the time. It'll be 9 o'clock and I'm answering a message. And I'm like, I kind of got to reel it back in. So not perfection by any means. But once you start living it, it becomes a lot easier to let that become your new normal.